perhaps. I'm going to take notes for you while I go over the exam review, and then I'll post this up along with the video, because this will save me hopefully some questions in the future. Maybe, who knows. The exam is next week, and the exam's at 2 o'clock next week, regular class time. It will probably take you less than an hour to complete it. It is a 25 multiple choice questions. It is worth 40% of your grade, however, each question is worth a point and a percentage of a point, like a 1.5 or so. Not worth that many. And what are the questions on? Let's see. No source code. No source code writing. What else we got? Let's see. Why do we have so many? There we go. Alright, so I'm just going to go question by question as we go through here, and I'll tell you the topic areas so you know what to study. Question number 1. It's all multiple choice, 25 multiple choice questions. It is. Each question is worth 1.5-ish. It's not really 1.5, it's like 1.25% of your grade. So there's 25 questions though. Okay, so select one best answer and place the letter in the space provided. Well, you can just circle, there's no space provided. So just select a best answer. So let's see, question number 1 is on those templates that we just looked at. So be familiar with the project templates. Remember, those templates are single view. Here we go here. Single view. What else do we have in there? Tabbed. We just looked at master detail, etc. Okay. That's about the level of detail I can give you. I can't read you the question or anything like that, but there is a question on the templates. And number 2. Actually, I can read you this question, because the question has nothing to do with anything. It says, which of the following statements is false? Which? Meaning, good question. Is it more than one? Or is it one? Now, let me look at this here. Ooh. Well, that is a hard question.
She's saying, just show us, we'll figure it out.
Oh, yeah, you'll do that next week. Alright, so the concept is on Storyboard and Xib files. So Xib stands for Xcode Interface Builder. So Interface Builder and Storyboard question. And it's on features. Yeah. Well, they're all sort of sounding true. It's hard to pick out which one's false, actually. Yeah. Let's add the other question here. Interface builders and storyboard. So let's put in here multiple views as well. Multiple views. You remember one of the things of this course was to get you familiar with multiple views and storyboards, interface builder, Xib files. Every single project we did had at least one of those in there. Know the differences between those items and be familiar with this. The questions are associated with your knowledge of Xcode and building apps. This is iPhone. If you haven't noticed, this is iPhone application development, the name of the course, not Objective-C programming. So there's no programming questions at all, but there's questions on Xcode app building features. Obviously, the main one everyone uses in all of your apps are storyboards and multiple views and interface builder or Xib files. So here, I'll put in here .xib so you understand what I'm talking about with that. So that is question number 2. It's on that concept. Question number 3. Remember in the beginning of the course, probably the first or second lecture, I talked about model view controller. Model.
MVC.
Yep. Oh, you do? You remember?
Yeah.
Thank you. Somebody remembers. Sometimes I think I talk to myself. Controller. MVC. It's an MVC question. Know what model view controller is? Know what it works with? Do we know what the view is? We just talked about the view in number 4 here. The view, multiple view, single view, storyboard view, XIB interface file creates the view. What's the, well, you know the controller, view controller, viewcontroller.m, viewcontroller.h is the file that we wire everything to from the view. And then we have the app delegate, which represents the data model. You can also add other, we did this actually, we add other objects to the project to create more data for us, like in the case of multiple functionalities or multiple data sources. So be familiar with the concept of model view controller. So I'm going to put here concept and how it relates to iOS.
Can you repeat the point where you said about the app delegate?
Yes, the app delegate is the controller, the traffic guard. We looked at the app delegate and earlier on, we actually kind of looked at it. We were supposed to look at it today with the multi-view, but it's basically the traffic cop. It's saying which view controller is going to go first. Actually, you remember, we just did one like a couple weeks ago where we changed the view controller on the app delegate, so another one loaded first. We added a special one in there. I think it may have been the tab view controller. I'm not sure which one we did this with. I know we did one where we took the app delegate and we told it to load a different view controller than the default one that came with the app when we built it, because we added a new controller to it. So, but that's the data part of the model view controller. The model is data. Data model.
Database.
Yeah. The M stands for model. The model is the data model. The view is the view. The controller is the view controller. It controls the view. Those are the pieces. It's an old design pattern that dates back to the beginning of object orientation, actually. It's called a design pattern for building object-oriented applications. You take the functionality, you separate it out into those 3 components, and the 3 components work together. They just have a designated role that each one of them plays. So. The question actually doesn't even go in that far. It's a very simple question. If you understand what model view controller is, then you'll answer the question just fine. Right? No? Don't ask her. All right, number 4. Let's see. Oh, number 4, I can read you the question again. It says, which of the following is false? And you have A, B, C, and D. This one is on the model part of the data model. So again, it's another model view controller question. So I guess I haven't kept track here, but this one is 25 multiple choice questions here. Oh, well, I was just keeping a numbered set. Let's just do it this way. This is Q1. No source code writing. Okay, wait a minute. All right, let's just do it this way. This is question 1. Be familiar with templates. Number 2, this is Q2. This is Q3 and 4. No, I haven't got to 5 yet. I'm only on 4. I've only gone through question 4. So let's start here, Q5. Let's see if it's any different. So question number 5. Number 5 is on the library of options. Library of options. You know, it might help if I bring up Xcode and I'll show you what I'm talking about here. Test. This is the library down here. So if I go in here and I click on Storyboard, I can go, for example, UI button. What did I have an iPhone project here. This is the library. The question relates to this down here. The library. Library of, let's just put here objects. Objects to use on Canvas, aka View. Or XIB. Storyboard. View components. View objects. The word object is used on here to represent everything in here is an object, by the way. This is an object. View controller is an object. It's object-oriented programming. So number 5 is on the library of objects. Actually, the word library of objects is in the question. So. Number 6, I can read you the question again. You want to take a guess what it says? Which one of the following? Oh, no, this is different. It says, which of the following is true? All right, it's on the concept of property and synthesize. So let's see. You want to know which one are we on here? Number 6. Number 6, Q6 is on property, and I'm going to put here at property and at synthesize. Do we know why we're doing those? Do we know why they're being used? Setters and getters? Yeah. If we use the at property, it's kind of like creating a variable declaration. If we synthesize it, we get the set color, get color, set name, get name. Setters and getters that are associated with it. They're usually used in a pair together, the properties and the synthesizes. It's just one way of doing it. Did you guys hear some people talking? Oh. Is that outside? It sounds like a radio. Oh. Number 7. Which of the following is false? Oh. Alright. Oh. Q7 is about memory. ARC, automatic reference counting. We don't have it anymore. Older project types had it. It's for garbage collection. We don't have it anymore. Some people have been using it though because you've had to turn it on or turn it off. Garbage collection. Garbage collection. Strong versus weak. Strong v weak. Weak says garbage collect me. If I'm available, no longer being used, garbage collect me. Strong means never garbage collect me. Remember when we've been doing these properties over here?
Strong.
Yeah, we got strong and weak. Every time we drag one of these library properties over here, and then we kind of come over here, we can give it, it automatically puts itself at strong or weak. It's on a concept, basically, of the strong and weak. And on the concept of ARC, automatic reference counting and garbage collection, as it applies towards Xcode. Just the concept of garbage, there's no direct ARC question. It's more along the lines of strong and weak and what garbage is, essentially, what the system is doing. You want to know what automatic reference counting is doing. It's counting references to strong or weak objects that are out there, keeping track of whether or not anybody's using them, so that they can be. Well, the word garbage collection in this context, I'm meaning it as meaning remove something from memory if it's no longer being used, or leave something in memory. That's what strong does. It makes it stay in memory. The question is getting along those concepts as we've used it inside of some of the projects that we've created. Numero 8, unless we have questions. Number 8, you can shut that door if you want. I don't know what is going on outside. Okay, number 8. Number 8 is on Coca Touch. Let me put it here, Q8. Coca How do you spell Coca?
C-O-C-C.
Coca. Coca Touch. Well, let's go in here. I'll take a look here. Oh, here, we'll do this way here. Go File, New, File. Coca Touch. Coca down here. The objects, what Coca touches. Coca touches for iOS, Coca is for OS X. Those concepts. You know, we have integer, then we have like an NS integer, NS string. Remember NS string? It's on those kind of concepts. So be familiar with, I almost call it the history, but it's kind of like the history of the naming convention, but also what it is we're working with. Go through some of the lecture notes from the beginning of the course. I gave you something in the first couple weeks of the class. Define some of those terms for you. If you can't find it, the best resource, then let me show you the lecture sets actually. You can get them from bhacker.com. I knew that there was too many W's with that. A good way of reviewing for the final would be to go over these PowerPoint lectures here. I covered most of the stuff in these lectures through the tutorials, and I didn't give you all of the PowerPoint lectures, but we don't have a book for this course, so if you're looking for reading materials, definitely go through this stuff. All the questions come out of here, so definitely a good source of background information or trivia stuff that you might not necessarily remember off the top of your head. So Coca Touch, I'll put in here NS stuff. There we go. That was number 8. Stop me if anyone wants any more information on anything. Oh, actually, you know what? That's number 8 and number 9. Let's see. I just finished reading the questions here. Yeah, that's really number 8 and number 9. So 8 and 9 is on the Coca Touch. So Q10. Q10 is on, which of the following is false? Not this one again, she says. Oh. Self. The concept of self. Remember, we did stuff with self. Self.view.background color equals some color. Self dot something or other dot something or other. We call ourselves self as our current object.
Even in the method view did load.
Then even in the view did load, it's self or return self. So on the concept of self. So you want to refresh your memory, and again, if you go back through the first couple of lectures, there's self-information in there too. So number 10 is on the self. It's an identity crisis here. And it's one of those, which of the following is false? Kind of a tricky question. Not really tricky, but yeah. Not very straightforward. There's the exam's meant to kind of separate what you know, what you don't know. It's an exam. So there's about 4 or 5 questions you're going to struggle with. And it's going to really separate out the A's from the B's because it is 40% of your grade. So, assuming that you have all the assignments turned in. So, if you fail, the worst thing that's going to happen is probably going to be in the class. So, no stress. Because, you know, it's only, well, I don't like to give anyone less than a B. So, it's a graduate class. So. A B is kind of like a C in the graduate level. You can't fail this class, especially if you've done the work. Now, if you're not going to do the work, you're not going to turn in some of the assignments, then you're probably going to end up failing the class. But also, because that's 60% of your grade. But this exam's not going to. This exam's fairly straightforward. Now they've tried to relax you a little bit. Number 11. Number 11. Number 11 is on the .m and the .h concept, which is really the class object. So the class object consisting of .h and .m in combo. What can I tell you about the class object? Well, one's the interface, the other one's the implementation. They both work together. They get compiled together to define the class. So one of them, the .h, in terms of its interface, we're defining the method prototypes, the data, stuff like that. In the .m, we're doing the implementation of the object, providing the source code for the methods that are in the .h file, stuff like that. So. All right, brings us to Q12. Huh. It's about the Xcode feature. Xcode Windows. Xcode Windows. This is Xcode. You know, we have like the window here. We got the window over here. We got the window over here. What's in this window over here? Well, this looks like the file window, the Project Explorer window. You don't have to know the names of all these windows, but this one over here does properties of objects. We have one that puts a source code in it. The question's a very generic question about the windowing environment of Xcode. If you've used Xcode before, you might, you know, got an attribute inspector over here and the source code. I keep calling this the tuxedo icon, but it's really it's not called a tuxedo. Don't walk away thinking it's called a tuxedo icon. It's not. It looks like a tuxedo. It's a source code editor. Yeah. Over here is an attribute inspector or attribute editor that edits, you know, you can change properties of the. If I were to actually click on the storyboard, you know, this is where we've been changing the background color and stuff. So the question is related to the parts and pieces of the Xcode interface. So. Xcode Windows, I'll put here parts and pieces of IDE. If you've used Xcode before and you've built projects, you can probably guess logically at most of these questions. Because some of them are like way off base, which always surprises me because someone will pick the one that's like completely wrong because they have never seen or heard of the concepts before. So, number 13. Remember Resign first responder? So, Resign first responder. What do? We send it to self or something. Remember the first responder? Here, actually, let me just put here first responder. It's on the concept of the first responder. It's a very basic question. You'll get it if you've used it. Remember, we've used it in one context actually. Well, primarily in one context over and over again. Resign the first responder gets rid of the keyboard. You remember when we type in a text when we were doing the calculators and stuff. We were trying to get rid of the keyboard that shows up, and we put that in there. I set it to self actually, so it works with the self concept. And Resign the first responder on the text box is a keyboard. So. The question's on that concept, but you don't have to memorize any source code. You don't have to know any source code for this, so you don't have to know Resign first responder either. This is basically what it's doing. That's what you're looking at. Number 14 is which of the following is false? And this is your multi-view and your sub-views. So do we have one of these already? We do. So it's 2 and number 14 is up here. So this one would be number 15. So 2 and 14 are an interface builder, model views, multiple views. Multiple views. Let me just put in here views as well. View concepts. Let's see. Storyboard. And view concepts. Wow, some people just came in. Are we doing attendance? We can do attendance. Let me pause this. I was doing a final exam review. Alright, last I left you was on question number 15. What's wrong? I'm sorry? They're not in my class. Hold on one second. Okie dokie. Question number 15. And then that guy's leaving. Which of the following is false? Alright. There's a lot of those questions. A lot of the questions are the same on this exam. Which of the following are false? This one has to deal with... Ooh. Alright, so you're going to have a couple questions here. Actually, I see 2 of them now. Number 15 and number 18. 15 and 18 are in categories. Categories. You're also going to have questions on protocols and interfaces. So in Java, you use an interface. It's an interface class. It gives you a bunch of methods. You know, they're actually just method prototypes, and you have to implement those methods. You don't implement it, you get an error message. So in Objective-C, we did a category. Actually, remember the changing the string from forward to backwards, reversing the string? And we took the NSString class, and we added this reverse string method to it. And we created a category for that, and the category allowed us to supplement a class method to the NSString class and use it with all of those instances of NSString that we created. So there's 2 questions having to do with the category concept, and protocols are just like interfaces. So a protocol, in fact, let me do it this way here, aka interface. Because a protocol is sort of like an interface where we implement, if we were going to use this protocol, we're going to abide by this protocol, we're going to implement certain functionality, like the functionality to do, like the print. Actually, we did a print thing earlier on in the course, along with the categories at the beginning of the course. If you look through the lectures, you'll see something on categories and protocols. Protocols are used sort of like interfaces. Actually, we had several projects that used protocols in it. So number 15 was on the category concept, and number 18 says which of the following is true, and it's on the word categories appears in each one of the A, B, C, D, and E. So it's all about categories. And number 15 is categories and protocols, and it's talking about which one is false. So some random stuff about categories and protocols and how they're used in Xcode projects. Did I put this back? Yes, I did. Very good. Okay. Number 16 is on the XIB file again. So wow, I have 2, 14, and 16 is on the interface builder, multiple view storyboards, and view concepts. So it's again another question in that category. So I'm going to post this along with the video, by the way, so you'll have these cheat sheets just in case you're not making good notes right now. Or you happen to be out of the room standing in the hall for some odd reason instead of being in the class. So. Alright, 16. Let's see, 17. 17 is a view controller question. I don't think I have this one yet. So Q17 is on view controllers. View controllers. What are they doing? What purpose do they serve in life? Is it the third and fourth? Let's see. No, that's multiple. That's model view controller. This is on view controller concept. Not model view, but just view. I mean, excuse me, controller. It's just view controller. View controller concept. Basic concept. Oh, here, I'll put basic concept. Basic concept and usage. Q18's above it. Q19, which of the following is false? It's on views. So it's again up here. Wow, we have a lot. We have number 19 up here too. So 2, 14, 16, and 19 are on the interface builder, multiple views. This one's on views. View concept. It's a kind of a critical part. We did a lot of stuff on views actually. So the exam's fairly representative. View controller, object. Okay, so that was number 19. Number 20, lucky number 20. Which of the following is true? Oh my god, it's more view controllers. It's again another view controller question. So this is 17 and 20. The view controller object question. Was that 21? Because 20 is just, and 21 are 21 as well. 17, 20, and 21 are on view controllers. We have different types of view controllers. We have root view controller, app delegate that selects which view controller to use. The question is really broad. So let's put here and root view controller. Root view controller. Basically, the ability of multiple view controllers to work together. It comes out of a couple of apps we built earlier on when we changed the app delegate to work with different view controllers. It's kind of a. It's actually a question. Number 21 you can easily guess at. Number 20 is a little bit more difficult. But the concept of the root view controller. The root view controller is basically the main one that comes up first, and then it calls the other controller, or it uses the other controllers. They're not really nested, they're more of control mechanism. One can call the other and use the other. Yeah, if you don't tell the app delegate about it, the whole thing complains. It won't load correctly. Number 22, finally, the concept of wiring. So question 22, concept of wiring. Remember when we connected objects on the canvas to code? Questions about wiring. Wiring of components to, here I'll put UI components, to code. Alright, 23, we're getting towards the end here. Is a true-false question. It's about Xcode. It's a generic Xcode question, true or false. So this is a Q23. It's really very generic. Generic Xcode question, True, false. You could take a 50-50 guess on this one. Well, it is essentially 50-50 guess, right? Number 24. There's only 25 questions on here. Um, 24. It's a code writing question without knowing any syntax. It's about Objective-C as a language. So it's an Objective-C question. But no syntax required. It's I don't want to give it completely away. So I have to be a little vague about it. But it's about code. It's about how the source code is used. But it's not about writing it in terms of its syntax. It is which of the following? It's multiple choice.
All the questions are multiple choice.
All the questions are multiple choice except for that one true false. There was just one true false. No, you don't have to write anything. You don't have to know any syntax either for this question. It's a basic question about Objective-C programming. Apply stores a lot of different programming languages as well. It's a generic programming kind of question. Number 25. Last but not least, it's an object-oriented question. So number 25 is about object orientation. But again, no syntax, Knowledge is required. So this really should say no syntax knowledge. But it's a question about basic object orientation. It's about all I can tell you. Without giving the question completely away. It's actually a fairly easy question. Both 24 and 25 are fairly easy. If you've seen Objective-C source code before, it's easy. If you've never seen the code before,
Any object orientation.
any object, well, actually, believe it or not, both of them, the same thing applies. You could apply it by looking at Java source code as well, actually. The same thing applies to both. They're very basic, no programming. There's absolutely no programming knowledge. This is the only Objective-C, only iOS programming class on the market where you don't actually have to know anything about Objective-C. That is all 25 questions. Do we have questions about the questions? Except for, what are the questions? I can tell you the questions. Select all that are true. Select all that are false. Which of the above are true? Which one's not? True or false? Something. Alright, well then I'm going to save this. And I will post this along with the video. And I'm going to assume you guys don't want any more tutorials. Now you guys had enough? Okay. Let me stop this recording.